Well, if that makes me a villain, then so fucking be it.
Please forgive me, this is my very first video ever doing this sort of format, so if it seems a little unhinged, that's probably because it is. When it comes to Euphoria Season 2, there's a lot to unpack there. And I was actually going to do an entire video about Season 2 and Season 2 alone. However, there's just too much to unpack here, and when it comes to the characters, the writing, Nate Jacobs just being Nate Jacobs, there's a lot to say. There's a lot to talk about. I think the most notable thing of this season is the writing. I've been seeing many videos online and articles about it. People just can't stop talking about the writing and how much of a degrade it is from Season 1. There's so much good to be had in Season 2 of Euphoria. Audiences are very divided. It seems that they can't choose between loving the thing or absolutely hating it, wishing that Sam Levinson didn't have so much of a crush on Sydney Sweeney. I mean, the point is the season has had a very large impact on its audience. However, I do have a lot to talk about when it comes to the particular character of Cassie Howard, the shining star of this season. Now, let's give props where props are due. Sydney Sweeney absolutely killed it. She deserves every Emmy that is known to man. I will literally fill garbage cans of Emmys. I will fill dump trucks with Emmys, deliver them to Sydney Sweeney's house. I will fill her house with Emmys until Sydney Sweeney herself becomes an Emmy. Why I want to talk so much about this character is because there was such an interesting basis surrounding this character in Season 1, and we got a lot of great writing surrounding this character in Season 1, only for it to kind of be thrown all away for Season 2. Let me explain. One of the things that bug me so much about this season is because they make her out to be the big bad villain. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a big bad villain, especially a complex one. And when it comes to Cassie, I do believe she is not just a one-dimensional villain, but a complex character. However, what really bugged me about Season 2's Cassie is it does start feeling more one-dimensional, and we do start feeling that she's more of a one-dimensional villain and not so much of a complex character as she was in Season 1. Season 1 Cassie is this girl who has, for lack of a better term, daddy issues. Cassie is shown from early age to absolutely adore her father and idolize her, only to have him taken away from her as the years pass due to drug addiction. And this leaves a harsh impact on her life once he is gone, once he stops calling. This leaves an incredible impact on her as she needs male love, male validation, and it's very evident in Season 1 as we see the backstory and how it connects with her promiscuousness, I don't know how you say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. How promiscuous she is in Season 1. All the guys talk about her and how sexual she is. She's known for sending pictures. She's known for doing all these sexual acts. And once it's revealed what her backstory is, we start putting the pieces together. Oh, this is why. Now, she does make mistakes in Season 1. I mean, she did cheat on her boyfriend and then pretend like that never happened. She just never told him that happened. I guess we're just moving on from that. But one of the most important things to me that was a huge part of Cassie's character in Season 1 was her abortion. And why I talk about this and say it's important is because of the effects abortion often has. Everybody has their different experiences. I'm sure there is not just one way for anybody to feel after an abortion. I can't say that every single one is going to feel a certain way. However, it is quite normal, I would say, for someone to feel depressed, start maybe spiraling after that happened, not really knowing too sure of what to do with oneself after that happens, maybe feeling a sense of emptiness or loneliness. And why I mention so much about this and why I'm talking so much about this is because this is not once, and I'm saying not once, mentioned in Season 2, okay? Not once. For something that I feel like was so integral, I feel like it should at least have been mentioned. Now, I'm not asking Sam Levinson to absolutely, make every episode of Cassie's dedicated to that, or for Cassie to straight up say, oh my god, I'm feeling this way because of my abortion. Like, I'm not asking him to do anything like that. I'm really happy with the subtleties in Euphoria and us being able to piece things together for ourselves. However, that's to an extent. There's only so much you can ask for the audience to piece together without you yourself leaving the clues for the audience. A lot of people have said in her defense that she just went through that and that's probably why she's behaving the way she's behaving. Okay, yeah, fair. I also agree, and I also think that's a very valid reason for her to be spiraling this season. However, again, it is not once mentioned or once shown at all. And you could say, well, yeah, but us as a viewer, we know that happened, and, we don't have to have it so in our face. We know it happened, and we can probably piece it together that that's why she's spiraling. Yes, I agree, but how are we supposed to know as an audience that is what Sam is trying to say for this season, and that is the reason why Cassie is behaving the way she is this season without any indication of that at all this season? For example, Rue and her drug addiction. That is absolutely fleshed out. Her character is super fleshed out, and we understand where she's coming from with each of her actions. Almost every episode with Rue this season, there was some kind of flashback with her and her father, and we have that. We have that clear understanding and that clear reminder this season, oh, yes, we see Rue making these horrible decisions, taking these actions, but we're reminded as an audience, yes, but this is why. However, in Cassie's case, we never get any of that. The only scene that we get is towards the end of the season. I believe it's episode 7, where we see a flashback of Cassie with Lexi. They're at the park with their dad. He's obviously drugged out of his mind, and then they have to have some kind of scary drive back with him. And then the ice cream falls off, which was pretty sad. But that's all we get. That's the only reminder that we get is in Lexi's play are these moments that they had with their father, and to remind the audience, yes, Cassie has her daddy issues. I understand that. But again, we never get any flashback with her and her abortion. Like, if this is supposed to tie in with her abortion and this is supposed to be her spiraling after her abortion, then at the very least, we could have gotten one scene, just one scene of maybe a flashback of Cassie the day after it happened, or maybe have a flashback of her talking about it with someone. I don't know, just something to tie that back in to allow the audience to realize, oh, this is probably why this is happening with Cassie right now. Either Sam doesn't want to acknowledge that happened and is just completely moving forward from that, and this has nothing to do with that, or Sam just forgot. I don't know. To me, everything that he left for season 2 with Cassie is in relation to her father. And again, it was kind of harsh to see it just in the last 2 episodes of the season. I mean, she's spiraling throughout the entire thing, and we're just left to believe that she's having some sort of manic episode and just being a bitch. Like, throughout the season, besides that point, it's just Cassie screaming, it's Cassie crying, it's Cassie yelling again, it's Cassie having a breakdown again, but we never see inside her head. Like, we never see, okay, why is she feeling this way? And then again, with the father stuff at the end of the season, it's leading me to believe, okay, so Sam's just saying that this is all pertaining to her daddy issues again. That's why it's the self-validation thing from males and male attention, because she didn't get that from her father anymore, and she needs a male in her life to do that for her. But something as important as an abortion that happened last season, I think would have been a great tie-in into this season, not only because it's a continuation of last season and it's not completely forgetting such an important moment in Cassie's life. Also because another point of sympathy for Cassie, because up until the last couple episodes, I was losing my sympathy for Cassie. I was losing my sympathy and my patience. I was losing my very last freaking brain cell just watching Cassie on my screen. As I'm listening to the recording, I actually realized that it's the opposite for me. I actually had more sympathy for Cassie at the beginning of the season rather than the end of the season. So, yeah, there's that. I'm not saying that Cassie's plot this season wasn't engaging, because I have to admit it really was. It had me hooked from start to finish. I couldn't wait to see the revelations of such events. I couldn't wait to see how Maddie would react. I couldn't wait to see how Cassie would react. But again, as engaging as of a plot this was, it kind of makes you wonder why. Why was that here other than just to add drama? What is this doing for this character? What purpose does this serve for this character in particular? On one argument's sake, you can say she needs the self-validation, she needs male validation, yada yada yada. But why Nate? What was Sam's process in choosing Nate and then choosing her to behave this way, to actually do the whole best friend, like, behind your back thing? What was the reason for it? Considering the fact that she knew Maddie's history with Nate in last season and how close they were, it actually makes it very hard to believe that season 1 Cassie would do this. Like, if I look at season 1 Cassie, I would never think she would ever do something like this to Maddie. Who is this person? Is this the Cassie that we were meant to be watching from season 1? I'm so confused. It just feels like Sam wants her to be the villain and doesn't really want us to see her as a complex character as like she was in season 1. And it even drives home the point when Sam puts in the last episode, Cassie literally says verbatim, "Well, if that makes me the villain, then so fucking be it." Okay, Sam. I couldn't help but say to myself, like, yes, yeah, you have been the villain this entire time. But it just kind of serves the character unjustly, and I feel like the reason why Sam, you know, made her not apologize to Maddie, doubled down and just keep defending herself like, oh, they weren't together, they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't know how many times I say they're not I think the reason why he did that is just solely for that purpose, to make her hateable and to make her a villain. And it's really unfortunate, because it would have been, in my opinion, more interesting to see more layers. I guess it will depend on what he does with season 3. I guess maybe he didn't want us to see any more layers until season 3. It would have been nice to at least have seen some more moments of her, you know, maybe missing Maddie, or her maybe like about to text "I'm sorry" to Maddie, or just something. I wish there would have been more creative ways and creative scenes that Sam could have come up with to make us feel that much more sympathetic towards Cassie, rather than absolutely hating her guts by the end of the season. Because again, that's what the beauty of this show is. And that was one of the main reasons why I love this show to begin with, is because these are complex characters. There is not one person who is absolutely right or one that is absolutely wrong. Everybody has their flaws and their good qualities in them too. These Euphoria characters are like onions. You peel back each layer and you find that there's more depth to each character as you peel more and more back. Yes, Shrek, I am looking at you. And with Cassie this season, it just felt like he didn't want to give her good qualities. I will say there was one moment where I did sympathize with Cassie that was pretty early on, and it was during her intensive beauty care routine, to say the least. yeah, I actually did feel sympathy with that moment, and I thought that sequence was very well done, and I wish we had more moments like that for Cassie throughout the season in order to sympathize with her more. Because that scene, without saying too much, says a lot about what people go through just to impress someone else, just to feel validated, just to feel wanted, just to get their attention. And I think a lot of people actually could relate to that scene, and it was really well done. So I will give props to that one, but other than that, yeah, there just wasn't really too much in there where I said to myself, wow, I really feel bad for that girl. I mean, I guess other than the fact that she was with Nick Jacobs, but you know. So yeah, so that's kind of all I had to say about Cassie in this season. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions. Obviously, I'm not absolutely correct in my opinions. This is just my opinion, and everybody else's opinions is absolutely valid. If you disagree with me, please feel free to leave it in the comments. If you do agree, again, feel free to leave it in the comments. It's up for discussion.